Rodrigo, first of all, you've been asked this question a bunch, but mise en scène, the opening moments just gets you. And I know you're a lifelong cinephile. How ambitious was that? And when did you get the guts to say, I'm just going to go for it? It's like a 10 or 11 minute, seemingly single take. And my goodness. So
yeah, you're right. I decided the very moment I started doing the rewrite of the script. For some reason, I felt that it needed to be a long take. Maybe because I felt that the movie needed to be not only a film to be seen, but a film to be experienced. And I felt that it needed to be sensorial and physical. And also, as you perfectly know, most of the film happens inside a theater, but this theater is not anywhere. It's in the heart of the Warsaw ghetto. So I thought that the audience needed to feel it, not only to know that it was in the ghetto, but to know how living in the ghetto was. So this way we could follow our main role, Stevcha, while she goes through a checkpoint, or she escapes from some chase, or while we see the markets, or we get inside this theater. And actually in the script you can read at the beginning, from now on until we say differently, everything will be in a long take, and about 30 pages later you can read, now this long take ends.
That's amazing. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think it's hard to find that definition of what a movie star is. And I've always felt that Clara Rugaard has that. Do you agree with me on that? And if she does have it, Rodrigo, from your vantage point, what is it specifically that she has?
No, she does. She has it. I felt it in the very first moment I saw her. The movie has some classic heart, though it's very contemporary in a formal sense. But the heart is pretty classic. This heart of Lubitsch or Billy Wilder. And I felt this was one of these movies that if it was made in the 50s, probably a star like Ingrid Bergman would have done. So I felt something like that. And also the needs for this role were very, very demanding, because she needed to be a phenomenal actress, of course, but also to sing beautifully. And not only to sing beautifully and dance beautifully as Clara does. Actually in Copenhagen, she's Danish. She was little Annie when she was 6 in the Copenhagen theater. And she didn't only need to sing beautifully, but to do such again and again, because all the songs you hear are happening live. All the sound you hear doesn't come from some playback, but it's happening live, like it was a dialogue every time, every take. So she definitely has it, and not many actresses in the world do.
Not to get too serious, but in the movie, Stefja talks about how she wants to continue to perform because there are people who depend on them to help them take the pain away just for a moment. And it seems for you as a filmmaker, you're not just a director, you're a novelist, you're an editor. So how important is it for you to help, people escape for a little bit and take that pain away, even though you're doing things, telling stories? I'm thinking about the end of Buried, telling stories that are uncompromising. How important is that for you to reach people like that?
I think it is important to me, and it's not important at all for the world, because the real power of art is that it's useless, and the most important things in the world are useless. What's the Ninth Symphony for? For nothing. It just makes the world better. The good thing with art is that it's inevitable. That's what we are. That's how we communicate. It cannot be avoidable, because it's how we express. And to me, it's way more important to believe in this than thinking that you have some great responsibility, or you are more than a filmmaker, or that you are gonna improve the world because you are entitled to teach lessons or anything like that. I don't feel that way. I think that you need to trust story itself, and you need to trust your characters, and you have to show who they are. They don't need to be archetypes. They don't need to serve some crucial goal. They need to be human. They need to be ambivalent. They need to be contradictory. And if you do that, then what you do will resound. And probably it will still resound in 20 years. While if you try to teach a lesson now, probably you will be out of order in a couple years.
Rodrigo, this is probably an answer that will take a long time to answer, but I interviewed Martin Scorsese years ago, and I asked him what makes him passionate as a filmmaker. And he said, well, even to this day, to see the movement of cinema, to see images move from one place to the other, the composition, still he's passionate about it. So, but you're also an editor, and I wonder, where does that passion come from? Because I always have this mythic dream of, or vision of, editors wanting to stay with the material for so long and perfect it and shape it. Where does that part of your artistic passion for the editing your stuff to?
I had to tell, I was always sensitive to these director editors for somehow. I always felt, even when I was a kid, the power of fragmentation. I felt the puzzle. And actually, Scorsese himself is probably the reason why I make movies, because I learned from him that the what is the how and the how is the what. When you see these Buster Keaton movies and when you see these Hitchcock movies, you immediately see that movement comes out from fragmentation, from juxtaposition, from the clashing of shots. And to me, editing is not a technical art at all. It's narrative. This is storytelling itself. You look for continuity, but not the continuity of the movement, but the continuity of the emotion. You try things to be fluid. You try to manage the audience attention, to anticipate what they are going to see and feel, and you try to not stop their flowness. It's hard to tell, but this is what you try to manage with. And this is probably where the cinematic fact happens inside an editing room. Of course, you need to write something, then you need to direct it and search for truth. But movies are made at the editing room.
Yeah, a couple of final questions, Rodrigo. Can you mentioned Scorsese, but right off the top of your head, can you name a specific movie that continues to inspire you as a cinephile? And then the second part of it is, I do a podcast and I ask filmmakers to pick a movie from their body of work that they feel might be underrated or overlooked. And what is that film that you want me and my audience to watch and talk about and discuss? So those two questions.
Probably any day I would choose a different film, but today probably there's Sala by Akira Kurosawa. I don't know if you remember this one. He made in Russia.
I've never seen that from Kurosawa. I saw my favorite is Redbeard. I've seen a bunch of his movies, but Dersu I haven't seen. What makes it special for you?
It's hard to tell. There's no many chances to see humanity as well expressed and in this movie in all its hardness and rawness. This is not a movie about being good or bad, but about being how the world is, how nature is. Nature is good and also savage and implacable and it's so beautiful. It's a 2 hour and something. A beautiful movie done in the heart of the taiga, in the middle of real nature with all its pain. And trust me, when you see it, it's going to be one of the most amazing and beautiful experience you are always going to have. You are ever going to have, sorry. Yeah. And regarding mine, it's hard to tell because we all tend to love our damaged children, all those children that don't have so many friends, and and we try to take care of them. When I remember when I released Red Lights, I didn't feel that in that moment it was, I don't know if understood, maybe this is a too grave word, but it was felt the right way, probably because it was made after Buried. And when you do something really singular in some way, you expect something similar, or you demand to live a similar experience. And when it's totally different, you feel some kind of unconscious frustration, probably. But probably I would choose Red Lights today.
Okay. And then final couple questions is, how pleased were you with just the overall music in this movie? It's just you played a big hand in it with the writing, but just, I'm sure it must have been hard work to come together, but just listening to it I'm sure with an audience must make you feel really good.
It was an amazing thing to do, because this play, which is the heart of the film, actually existed. It survived. The text survived. The song survived, but not the music, only the lyrics. So we needed to reinvent it. We needed to recompose all these songs in the tradition of the theater of the late 30s. So it was a joy, it was a blast, it was so hard also, but this is one of the most rewarding experiences we had.
And finally, Rodrigo, I know maybe several words in Spanish, and I really want to brush up on my Spanish. And I'm thinking of reading books in Spanish to actually help me. Would that be good? And should I start off with El Años Extraordinarios as one of my first primero books?
Los Años Extraordinarios.
Yes. Yeah.
No matter how bad is your Spanish, it's probably better than my English. I apologize.
Oh no, I apologize too. Is it a perdón? So I apologize. So,
but yeah, this is my last novel, and it's very, very different from my movies. Actually, it's very literary, if it means something, and it plays hard with language. In this case, with literal language. I mean, when I make movies, I also trust language, cinematic language, which doesn't happen so much nowadays. It seems like people trust more and more in simple coverage. You do a couple of medium shots, maybe a general shot, and then some editor does the trick. But I still believe in taking choices.
Rodrigo, thank you so much for your time. Really love the film, and hope to talk to you next time for, I believe, Escape. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.